Welcome to Wake Med Park in Cary, North Carolina, as we get set to go a midweek NWSL showdown. It's the North Carolina Courage versus the Portland Thorns. Alongside former Manchester United keeper Gary Bailey, I'm Maura Sheridan. Glad to have you along with us. Let's take a look at the starting lineups for both of these sides. And for Portland, this is a team that is first in the NWSL right now, riding an 11-game unbeaten streak. So we'll see what they put out there. And this is a very different lineup, Gary.
Yep, 6 changes from the team that beat Washington 2-1 in the last game. Abby Smith comes in goals, gives Bella Bixby a little bit of a rest. Megan Nally at right back, Natalia Queeker goes to the bench. And then you'll see that also on the side, Janine Becky's in, Rocky Rodriguez goes out, Christine Sinclair gets a rest, and the youngster Olivia Moultrie comes back in. Sam Coffey, who's been doing great in that defensive midfield role, she gets a rest. Taylor Porter takes over, and Sophia Smith is back. You might think it's a weakened side with some, unusual players, rest players coming in, but the moment you throw Sophia Smith back in the lineup, Marissa Everett going to the bench, suddenly you have a dangerous Portland Thorns side.
Now let's take a look at the starting 11 for North Carolina. This is a team that needs to pick up 3 points. We said that pretty much every week for the Courage, but it's really, it's true, and they're coming off a very decisive win, so this is the lineup they'll go with. Not as many changes here.
Just the one change from the team that beat Chicago 4-0 last time out. What a victory that was. Ryan Williams comes in at right back for Merritt Mathias. It's a 4-2-3-1 probably. You can see it sometimes as a 4-4-2 as well. Ordonez, who has been in incredible goal-scoring form, leads the line, and then she is ably supported by Caroline Debinya and the new signing Fuka Nagano, and then holding in the more defensive roles are Denise O'Sullivan and Brianna Pinto.
So we'll see what happens today as we take a look at the standings as well. Again, Portland hasn't played in 2 weeks here in the NWSL. They're still at the top, and North Carolina just in 10th place. Now there's 2 teams behind them, so they've actually moved up thanks to that Chicago win.
They have, and they have games in hand. Have a look at that, 13 played. Most teams around them 16 or even 15, so they need to catch Chicago Red Stars in that final playoff spot. They're 10 points behind. They've got 9 points in the 3 games they have in hand, so they're going to have to go on a winning spree. We thought it was getting close to almost impossible. They were going to have to win every game. Well, they won the last one 4-0. They win this one, and suddenly that winning streak, that miraculous winning streak, is very possible because this is a stacked Courage side. And even Rian Wilkinson, the Portland Thorns coach, saying, wow, they are way, way better than the table position suggests.
Well, Gary, I think we saw that against Chicago. That was the best win of just 3 wins for North Carolina in this NWSL regular season. 4-0 against the Chicago Red Stars team that did have Mallory Pugh. Now, she didn't look completely, her best in that game, but this is a Chicago team that is floating near that playoff line, and they did not look like that team at all against North Carolina. Again, a 4-0 victory for the Courage last weekend.
Yeah, and Ordonez is the one that everyone's looking to. Deanna Ordonez, just 20 years of age. Yes, she's got the likes of Debinya in the middle of your picture there, the number 10, who's a wonderfully talented player. Caroline, what great touches she has, the young Brazilian. And they're all feeding the ball to Ordonez, but she is the big threat. Fantastic header of goals from set pieces. And good luck, Portland Thorns, stopping her from scoring.
Yeah, she was able to score in the 10th minute thanks to Carson Pickett on a nice little set piece through the air. And you got to imagine that's the one person to watch on those set pieces, and Ordonez was still able to score. And then she did it in the second half as well, this time with her left foot. So we'll see how North Carolina responds. Again, they are in a more precarious position. They need victories. For Portland, they want to win, but it's not as much of a need. But the Thorns, right now, first in the NWSL, and you see San Diego and Houston right behind them. In order to get that home playoff game, it's important to keep picking up 3 points.
Yeah, and the Portland Thorns are on the road. They've got a big road stretch coming up now, and it was suggested by Rian Wilkinson that they will need to rotate, they will need to manage the minutes, and they will need to make changes, and that they've done. 6 changes. There's Abby Smith. Look forward to seeing her have a run out and show what she can do. But 6 changes. But the moment you bring that superstar in picture back into the team, Sophia Smith, you know that if she gets the ball, she can cause any team such an amount of problems.
Portland on the road in white, and North Carolina in their home blue. Underway here in Cary, North Carolina. Karen Collado is the ref today. And again, Gary Bailey, Morris Sheridan here on the international feed. Kelly Hubley, already off to a rocky start.
She's already celebrating the season, is she?
Oh man, yes. I think I usually write down that it rhymes with Bubbly, so that's what that was. Anyway, Hubley has played every single minute for Portland this year. Smith already into the area, so dangerous. Cuts it back. Sugita left it behind, no one home. This is a Portland team that often gets off to the races. They've scored 10 goals in the opening 15 minutes this season.
I think that's way more than any other team has managed to do, so it does prove your point. But I think North Carolina Courage are also a team that loves to get on the front foot. And in fact, when they went to Providence Park a couple of games ago and drew 3-3, they had a higher XG, expected goals. Now, not many teams go to Providence Park and outperform Portland Thorns in terms of scoring opportunities. The Courage did. Their problem's not been scoring goals, their problem's been leaking them. And now that they've managed to get a clean sheet in the last match against Chicago, you wonder if they've turned the corner defensively.
Yet North Carolina immediately gave up 2 goals to Portland, then stormed back, then Smith got on the board, and then finally it came down to Jaylene Daniels at the very end of the match in Providence Park. I was at the beginning of August, again ended in a 3-3 draw, and North Carolina's in the midst of, just like you said, Gary, really strong offensive performances. They have now scored in 4 straight games 3 or more goals. Twice they've scored 4, and yet they only have that 1 win against Chicago in the midst of that streak.
Well, they've scored the 3rd highest number of goals, to back up your point. The problem is they've conceded the 3rd highest number of goals. And they're a good defense. If you're looking at the likes of Kaylee Curtin, Abby Urseg, these are really, really good players in defense. Casey Murphy's a very good keeper. They've been unlucky. Maybe they've thrown too many bodies forward. But what Sean Nahas was telling us when we chatted to him was that he's got Debinya and Caroline and Ordonez working very hard defensively. Even though they're strikers, they do a good defensive job as well.
See Urseg, Carson Pickett. Urseg will toss it in. Does have a goal this year, but constantly paired up with Kaylee Kurtz as the 2 center backs for North Carolina. Porter sends it behind to Hubley. Sauerbrunn getting the start. Backline's pretty much the same for Portland.
Yeah, just the one change with Megan Nally coming in at right back in place of Natalia Kuika.
Of course, Abby Smith coming in for Bella Bixby as a keeper. Smith did play 2 games in the Challenge Cup this year, including a shutout victory against San Diego, had 7 saves.
I just wondered, in the previous match for the Portland Thorns, the previous NWSL match, Bella Bixby carried the ball over the line for an own goal, a very strange goal. And I just wonder if Rian Wilkinson has felt, you know what, give her a break, let her have a rest. You know, sometimes psychologically keepers need to get away from the game if they've made a strange error, and then come back and refresh. So that could be, you know, a chance for Bella Bixby, who's been in excellent form all season. Just the one very strange error. Maybe she just gets a bit of time off.
See Sean Nahas trying to put together an improbable run to make it to the playoffs, and he did say, you know, he doesn't want to talk too much about the big picture, just one game at a time. Most coaches say that, but I think it would be important for North Carolina to view things that way.
He said his message to the team after the last win over Chicago by 4-0 was, now we know what we're capable of. A clean sheet at one end, goals at the other, a good performance against a very good Chicago side. He said that's the standard now going forward.
O'Sullivan. Off to Carson Pickett, back and forth they go. North Carolina. Ordonez. Just an incredible rookie season for Deanna Ordonez. 10 goals already. She scored in 5 consecutive games for North Carolina. 8 goals in that time frame. Here's Debinya. Gets behind her. Sugita taps it out. Debinya runs right into Carson Pickett. Still has it. Ordonez fighting for it on the ground. Keeps on going. Carson Pickett. Becky. No one can clear it here for Portland. Dabinia. Ordonez. Floats it back behind to Pinto. Turnover. Yasmin Ryan going the other way. Pinto back to play some defense. Ryan runs right into some trouble. Moultrie with the pickup. Becky. 16-year-old Olivia Moultrie, and we got a foul. Janine Becky is down, and a free kick is coming for Portland.
Just shows you how good Portland Thorns are on that counter-attack. That was a very poor pass there from Pinto in midfield. Brianna Pinto, she had all the time in the world, underhit the pass, it got intercepted, and then they were off to the races. Portland rushing forward in numbers. There's that, they're on the foot there. That's always painful when someone stands on your foot. And they were away. Becky and Moultrie all flying forward. Jasmine Ryan. And that's the danger in giving away a cheap pass in midfield.
Now Casey Murphy gets ready in net. Again, Ryan often used off the bench, but she has started some midweek games for Portland. Of course, this being one of them. She'll take the free kick through the air, up to Murphy, who dives on it. It was low enough that that could have bounced. Murphy has it squared.
Good goalkeeping, brave goalkeeping as well. You're diving at the feet of your own players and the opposition there, and you're always likely to get kicked on the top of the head on one of our own players, Kaylee Kurtz, who just managed to hurdle her.
Well, Murphy was named to the U.S. Women's National Team friendly roster coming up against Nigeria in September. The only Courage player on that roster. However, Portland, of course, has Sam Coffey, Becky Sauerbrunn, and Sophia Smith. Ordonez commits a foul. Syrian Wilkinson, and first-year head coach with Portland, and it seems like they're peaking at the right time.
I think she's done a fantastic job when she took over. She was a bit concerned that she had big shoes to fill from the previous coach and his success, but wow, she's got this team to the top of the table with games in hand and playing some incredible attacking football.
Moultrie pulls it back out to Becky. Tries a cross right into O'Sullivan's body. See Olivia Moultrie, again 16 years old. She just got back from her time with the U.S. Women's National Team U20 squad. Played in the World Cup in Costa Rica. Actually didn't go so well for the United States. Went out in the group stage.
Well, she's a youngster, 10 games, 2 goals and 3 assists. So, you know, you impact the scoreline 5 times in 10 games at 16 years of age. Wow, what an amazing talent.
Well, I was going to say, against North Carolina, on the second Smith goal, it was Moultrie on the assist, and it was really a beautiful pass. She's been able to create a lot. There she is again. Porter, 2 goals herself. For Ryan. Williams trying to get back. Ryan corrals it in. Here's Smith, top of the box. Tackled away.
By the way, Taylor Porter with that pass that actually got that move going. Absolutely brilliant in midfield there for Portland Thorns. He's going to keep an eye on her because to fill the boots of Sam Coffey, who's had a wonderful season, not easy, but Taylor Porter spraying the ball out to the left.
Well, I think what has made Portland so successful this year is that they have a lot of depth. They have a lot of options. Porter being one, talked about Moultrie. I mean, this right now, this lineup, besides, you know, the Smith and the backup line, or excuse me, the back line, and Sagita as well. This is, you know, a lot of players that would often come in as subs, and yet they're out here competing with North Carolina's A team.
Yeah, that's true. You do need depth because you have to rotate players. You have to manage their minutes. And, of course, there's always injuries and knocks as the season goes on because you want to peak at the playoff time, which is where it's a little bit different from the rest of the world, where you win the league throughout the course of the season. Here you earn the right to get to the playoffs, and then it really counts. So you've got to peak at the right time.
Smith rips a shot, and it goes right to Murphy.
Little reminder of what Sophia Smith can do. Listen, you know, she's on the edge of the box. You think they might mark her a little bit tightly. They're running off, and the moment you do that, she's going to run at you and get to the edge of the box and try and get that shot. You've got to get a bit tighter. That's of course, the moment you do, she dribbles past you. So you're stuck either way, but that's a threat that Sophia Smith will provide throughout this match.
Again, 11 goals in the regular season for Smith. Only Alex Morgan has more goals than Sophia Smith this season with 12. And again, Smith's been off for 2 weeks from NWSL play, and actually did not play the last NWSL matchup against Washington. Was a late scratch in that game.
Well, her 11 goals have come in 11 games. I mean,
yes.
that is a phenomenal response. Mind you, Diana Ordonez has 10 goals in 11 games, which by itself is absolutely brilliant as well. So I think on view tonight in this match, two of the finest strikers in the NWSL at the moment.
22 and 20. Smith's 22 and Ordonez is 20 years old. If you're, the Mexican national team, you're definitely really excited about Ordonez and what she'll provide for the future as well. I know that they had a very disappointing CONCACAF run, but you have to imagine Ordonez will be a part of that group moving forward. Moultrie off to Hubley. Looking for options. Pressure from Ordonez. Sugita turns, beats O'Sullivan, lofts it up, broken up by Kaylee Kurtz. O'Sullivan with the touch. Ordonez trying to get back. Abby Smith again in net. Dabinia blocks it! Cuts back, Dabinia! Ordonez! No shot! Wow, that could have been a disaster for Portland. It's not over yet. By the way, that was Taylor Porter that got back to make the tackle just in time. Carson Pickett rips a shot, and it goes to Smith.
Incredible tackle from Taylor Porter. Absolutely brilliant. It almost looked like a leg-breaking tackle because total commitment. Abby Smith taking unnecessary risks. Dabinia, clever feet. Later, now watch the slide tackle coming in. Wow, for a moment I'm thinking that could have been a terrible injury, but Taylor Porter 120% committed to winning that ball, and just in the nick of time there. Brilliant bit of play and pressure from North Carolina Courage, and great defense there from Taylor Porter.
Well, that might earn you some more playing time down the line if you're Taylor Porter. Again, what a tackle there, and North Carolina nearly scoring the first goal in this match. Dabinia all alone is not a situation you want to find yourself in as a keeper.
It's also an unnecessary risk that you're taking, Abby Smith. You're being closed down. You can see Dabinia coming. Just knock the ball long. If there's nothing on, there's no harm in knocking it down the pitch, but to start trying to get clever and then losing possession of the ball right in your box, it's an incredibly dangerous area to lose possession of the ball.
Well, we've seen this happen a couple of times in the last NWSL matches that we've done. And no one scored off of a mistake quite yet, but it feels like some keepers are playing with fire. Caroline off to Williams. Push ahead here for North Carolina. Sauerbrunn clears.
The idea was good from Ryan Williams there, but the pass itself just slightly overhit. And that's the counter-attack capability of Courage. With the likes of Caroline on the one side, we saw Dabinia nearly create a goal on the other side. And then through the middle, they've got the young Japanese star, Fuka Nagano. Lots of ammunition to try and supply to Ordonez up front.
Yeah, Fuka had a goal and an assist in the last match. Just her second game and first start with North Carolina against Chicago. Assisted on the second Ordonez goal. Pinto has some space. Takes it. Pickett. Moultrie breaks that up. Smith the other way. Pickett trying to get back. Slows. Sauerbrunn. This is actually a makeup game of a rescheduled match that was supposed to be played May 7th, but then North Carolina made the Challenge Cup final and won, and it's been a little bit hit or miss for North Carolina since then. Here's Ordonez. Ahead to Debinha. Hubley racing back. Here comes Debinha in the area. Doesn't have numbers. Another strong tackle, this time from Hubley. Push back. Debinha has some time on a cross. Headed out of trouble. Becky off the pickup. O'Sullivan, aggressive. Fuka. Again, was signed by North Carolina just a couple of weeks ago. Nahas has been really pleased. Just says she's really technically sound and been a nice addition for North Carolina. Smith trying to get some separation, keeps on going. Kurtz was taken down. Here she comes, Smith. And goes right to Murphy.
Fantastic from Sophia Smith. Absolutely brilliant that she's able to brush off defenders, run at the defense. Have a look here. She turns. She's being pulled and tugged a little bit by Kaylee Kurtz. She gets past that. She then faces up to more center backs, goes past Carson Pickett. She's getting chased down from midfield by O'Sullivan. Ultimately, at the end, just lacked a bit of balance and power in the shot. And in fact, speaking to both coaches, it was Sean Nahas who said there's one player we have to know where she is at all times, is Sophia Smith. And when we spoke to Maria Wilkinson, she said, you know, there's one player we have to know where she is at all time, and that's Ordonez. So I think both coaches are aware that there's a player on the opposition side that can hurt them if they switch off.
Debinha, Caroline, here she comes into the area. Caroline looking for options, keeps it herself, cuts it back. Couple of moves, Hubley looking to push her out.
Just wonder, was there a chance of a shot there for Caroline?
Pinto nearly turns it over. Pickett. You don't see Caroline shy away from shots too much.
And she ran into the box and didn't have anyone to pass to. Something. Well, have a dip then, have a shot, and she sort of decided to come back out of the box and look for support, and then of course the opportunity's lost.
Debinha. Pickett again, 4 assists for North Carolina this year. Williams. Caroline up the middle to Pinto. Porter comes up. Well, North Carolina loves to possess. Nahas always talks about how he wants them to sit around 60% per game. Taking their time. Pinto. Little flick up, intended for Ordonez. Sauerbrunn's there instead. Porter.
He was talking as well, Nahas, about for him the most important difference in the team in the last week or so has been their, what he calls their rest defense, what they do when they haven't got the ball.
Dangerous. Here comes Smith in the area. Kurtz is getting back. Smith does not have numbers. Doesn't usually stop her. O'Sullivan able to intercept. Fuka, big long ball ahead to Debinha, and Ordonez has a step, cuts through the middle, looking for Debinha. Smith dives, covers, and stops Debinha.
What a fantastic counter-attack move by North Carolina. Courage, absolutely brilliant. Abby Smith, well done in goals, making that save. But they're at the one end here. Denise O'Sullivan, that little chip pass there is absolutely brilliant. The long ball here, the awareness of the numbers. And have a look at Debinha cut inside to the right. Ordonez can see her going, and then just tries to get the ball around the back of the defenders. And well done, the goalkeeper. Brave save. Ordonez, great skill. Debinha's about to stick it in the back of the net. Out comes Abby Smith.
Well, no score yet between North Carolina and Portland, but we've certainly been close. Courage have had more opportunities. Debinha has 4 goals this year. Remember, she missed a big chunk of time with Brazil. Porter. Caroline, that one was out.
Well, we saw in that last move how well Portland Thorns attacked with Sophia Smith, and I was just talking about rest defense, which was Sean Nahas's comment. When we don't have the ball, when we're on the attack, Courage on the front foot, our defenders have to think of what's going to happen if we lose it. It's called rest defense. And they countered so quickly, Portland Thorns. They nearly caught the Courage, and the Courage did the same to them. They got the ball and they countered quickly. So 2 wonderful attacking teams in transition, both with the Courage and the Thorns. And again, well done, Abby Smith, with that save at the end there at the feet of Debinha.
Again, a little bit earlier, Smith got caught up, didn't quite get rid of it fast enough. Debinha almost made some noise and scored the first goal. Makes up for it with that save. Ryan Sauerbrunn. Porter, Moultrie. Up the middle, Caroline looking to get back. Stops her. Sugita. Caroline. Ordonez the other way for North Carolina. There's Debinha. Can Caroline get there? No. Defense is able to collapse for Portland.
Caroline did so well to win that ball. I don't think she had it in her legs to get up that quickly.
Here comes Smith. Smith takes a shot and Murphy denies.
Smith doing a lot of the work on her own. Hasn't got much support up front. When she gets the ball there, she turns. There's no other white shirts around. There's maybe someone in the middle on the far left there, but normally if Christine Sinclair is playing, Sinclair's just dropping off her. Rocky Rodriguez is there as well. So it's pretty much in a lonesome role up front tonight is Sophia Smith.
Yeah, interested to see. Probably depends on how this first half plays out for Portland, if they use Sinclair in this game or not.
Certainly is an option, and they've got a stacked bench, Portland Thorns, as to who they can bring on. They've got Rocky Rodriguez as well to come into midfield. Sam Coffey can come in, although to be fair, Taylor Porter has played well so far. Morgan Weaver as well.
Right. Weaver has 4 goals this year for Portland, most of which off the bench. Pickett, the cross, header, it's in! Ordonez again. 11 goals this season for the rookie, and that was magic.
Fantastic header at the far post, but what a beautiful ball in from Carson Pickett. Puts it right on the head of Ordonez at the far post, sees where she is. Nothing that they could do about it, Portland Thorns. They know she's a danger in the air. They know they have to pick her up, but it all happens so quickly. But Carson Pickett starts it off here. She's going to keep on running. Caroline sees her, and there's time. Now she puts her head up there, Carson Pickett. That's a little look. Puts the ball in absolutely brilliantly. And Ordonez yet again, as you say, for her 11th goal. And it's not an easy angle, it's a tight angle, but she gets power behind it and she gets accuracy.
Well, the North Carolina bench is excited to take the lead, and Ordonez again very much in this Golden Boot race, because now she's tied Sophia Smith with 11 goals. That's second in the league. Unbelievable stuff.
Probably the best header of a ball in world football at the moment, you would think, or certainly up there amongst the best. And it's a concern for Rian Wilkinson now, her team 1-0 down, but how do you defend against that sort of player who's so good in the air? And we saw it in the last match as well against Chicago for the opening goal from a corner. Ball comes in, Chicago Red Stars, they were trying to mark Ordonez, and still she got above them all to put her team in the lead. So it's stopping her that's a problem. Sophia Smith doesn't have that heading ability like Ordonez has, but of course she has blistering pace instead.
So first of all, they call Ordonez Scordonez, which I think is absolutely accurate. And I should mention that now she's scored in 6 straight games, which matches an NWSL record set by Abby Wambach in 2013 and Kim Little in 2014. So those are 2 of the best players ever in women's soccer. And Ordonez, again, keeping pace with Wambach and Little right now in her rookie season. And I do think what's so exciting, I'm sure, for Carson Pickett is that she's got someone now at the end of those services that she's always been so phenomenal at. And now she's got, you know, someone through the air that can finish.
100% correct. And that's why they're such a dangerous team, Courage, and you and I have spoken about it. Yes, they have to win almost every game left, but they're very capable of winning every game. They are just so good in every position. And Sean Ney has, now that he's sorted out his, what he calls his rest defense, the ability of his team to not give up leaky goals because they're attacking too much, I don't see any team stopping this team from scoring. What you've got to do is you've got to outscore them, and that's going to take some doing.
Well, the Courage setting up from the back here. O'Sullivan was questionable prior to today's game, but just a warrior as per usual. A little bit banged up in her left foot, it appears, but only missed 1 game this season and rarely does over the course of her career in the NWSL. And the 1 game that she missed was kind of a disaster for North Carolina. Sauerbrunn, Nally. Well, this is the opposite of last time around. It was Portland that scored first in the last game they played, again, August 5th.
Well, they had the capability to come back in the same way that the Courage did when they went down against the Thorns at Providence Park. This Portland Thorns team, as we can see.
There's a cross. Nearly slipped through. Ordonez coming back. Pickett.
So as we can see, they can attack and they can score goals. As I was saying it, the ball gets whipped across the box, and Janine Becky ever so close to heading that in. Plus, they've got so many good players they can bring off the bench. So this is still a long way from finished, of course. That's how good the Thorns are. But certainly now, away from home against this Courage side, they've got a real mountain to climb here, have the league leaders.
Portland is the only NWSL team, though, to not lose on the road this year. They've got 3 wins and 4 draws away from home. The regular season, of course. Smith, a little tripped up, being pushed out by Urseg. Gets some separation. Becky. Light pass, and it goes right to O'Sullivan. Has some time. Sugita. Becky. Sugita caused the turnover. Now possesses here for Portland. Williams will just watch it roll.
This is a great situation for North Carolina fans. They must have all but given up hope of making the playoffs until the last match against Chicago. And now, with Fuka Nagano joining and Ordonez scoring an incredible number of goals. So it was 8 in the previous 5, so it's 9 in the last 6. I mean, who scores 9 goals in 6 games? It's just a phenomenal return. And North Carolina fans will be saying, you know what, we've got a chance. There's still life in this team, there's still hope, because you made the point about them winning the Challenge Cup. That took their mind off, you know, off starting the league season. They had some tired legs, injuries. They got off to an horrendous start, and they've been playing catch-up ever since.
Yeah, again, just had 2 wins on the year until that last matchup against Chicago, and those 2 wins came in succession in June, and then they again had gone on a winless streak, and so it was just a tough stretch, and just wondering if that Chicago game is going to turn things around or not. Obviously, taking down Portland would be a huge victory, but there's a long way to go. This one lofted up for Caroline. Look at that speed. Nearly gets there. Sauerbrunn had more time and has to flick it out. Caroline.
Talked about the defensive work of the strikers. Look at Caroline coming back, winning the ball, giving it to her midfield and defenders, and then working her way back up into attack.
Pickett. Well, you could see Caroline grow just in that single game against Chicago, because there was a play at the very end of the game where she goes down and she had options and she just took the shot herself. It was a tough angle. And then maybe minutes later, she goes down, realizes the same thing is happening, finds Riley Baisden, who scores. And you could just see a rookie kind of understand the game more and more over the course of one match against Chicago. And I think that's just going to be true for Caroline. As this is bad news. Ordonez is down right now for North Carolina, holding that right shoulder.
This will be terrible news. She looks like she's in a lot of pain, and if there's something wrong with their star striker, that's going to be a big problem for Sean Nahas. You can see by the response of her teammates that they feel it's, whatever it is, it's not good. So see what happened. So coming together there. Oh yeah, it looks like it's dislocated or something, isn't it? Puts her arm out then, just feels it. So there's no nastiness at all coming from Portland Thorns. Megan Nally, just looks like the shoulder might have popped out a joint, or there's something else. But it looks like a dislocation, and if that's the case, it's going to be the end of the game for her, you would think.
Yeah, just one of those kind of freak moments there for Ordonez, but that would be really tough for North Carolina. Of course, she did score in this match. Wonder if this is a problem that Ordonez has had before. As she gets up, doesn't need the stretcher even though it's out.
Wow, that's a very quick recovery. You're right, it must be something she's used to, and because if that hasn't happened to you before, it can be extremely painful and you don't really want to play on. So you're right, maybe it's an injury she's well acquainted with and knows whether she can or can't play on.
Well, she's going to walk off, and again, you can just see awkwardly holding that shoulder at the moment. And Nahas coming to check on her. Radcliffe is standing around. Ordonez clearly does not want to come out. And so there's a discussion going on right now if Ordonez can go or if Brittany Radcliffe is going to have to come in or not.
I think at the end of the day, the medical staff's opinion should really be the most important for Sean Nahas. You can see him shaking his head, pointing at the doc. Probably saying something like, the doctor's opinion I have to listen to, because the last thing he wants is for Ordonez to go back on and make it worse in any way.
So they will make that change. Brittany Radcliffe comes on. Ordonez comes off because of that injury. Radcliffe does have 2 goals this year for North Carolina. This one bounces to Murphy. Hauls it in with her right hand. Actually, Radcliffe did the bulk of her damage when Ordonez was on international duty with Mexico.
I just wonder how that changes things for the Courage, because with Ordonez in the team, they must have felt absolutely unstoppable, that every cross in the box, every set piece was going to be dangerous. Without her, without that aerial threat, I just wonder if their style of football changes or their confidence drops, or obviously we're going to find out as we go along. And maybe for Portland Thorns, they think, wow, the biggest threat to us has gone off. Lucky us, maybe we can get on the front foot more often.
Nally, Smith, O'Sullivan. And Smith gets called again in a battle. There's Radcliffe coming on. Signature orange ribbon for Brittany Radcliffe. He's worn that since high school.
The same ribbon?
Yes.
Wow.
Well, I don't know if the same.
Same color ribbon. We'll go with that.
So we don't need to start rumors. Sugita. Smith stretches out. Can't get a good shot off. Pickett turns around. Radcliffe.
Certainly thinking back to my playing days, players would wear the same tie to a game, or the same, and it always had to be the same one, otherwise they felt they wouldn't be as lucky.
Oh yeah, superstitious. Athletes aren't known for that, that's for sure. Becky Moultrie in the corner, trying to find Smith. On Urseg's back, Smith skirts through and has a tough angle and somehow got a shot off.
I I think Abby Erceg there was waiting for Casey Murphy to come, and she was saying, come and get the ball, come and get it, and the keeper never came off her line. Have a look at this again. You'll see Erceg will get the ball there. Now she's waiting for the keeper, holding off the player, waiting. Keeper doesn't come. In the end, it's a risky moment by Erceg. And who's causing the problem, as always? Sophia Smith.
I do think there's something to be said of the mind games that Smith can play with her opponents. Just, you're always on edge when you're going up against Sophia Smith. Rightfully so. She can strike at any moment. Again, 11 goals this year for Sophia Smith. Murphy. Erceg. Carson Pickett. Dabinia right into Sugita. Play on. Sugita. Well, you get the feeling that North Carolina is going to need a very strong defensive performance here today, especially now that Ordonez is out. It's only a matter of time before Portland has a nice sequence or two. It's just impossible to stop that with this Thorns side.
And I think in terms of the attack, Courage will play it differently. They won't be able to knock high balls into the box in the way they scored that opening goal.
Ryan takes off, redirects.
Looks like there was an offside there. So, yeah, just talking about the style of play now for the Courage becomes different. It becomes quick counter-attacks to feet with Dabinia and Caroline, and looking to get the second goal that way. One of their major threats, the aerial ball from crosses and set pieces. Unfortunately, losing Ordonez means they're not going to be as effective.
Well, we have some superheroes in the crowd today. And North Carolina up 1-0. We got Portland fans all the way in Cary, North Carolina as well. Of course, the Thorns won the Shield last year, but did not win the NWSL championship. They would like to change that this season. There was a lot of question marks with Portland going into this year. Of course, you have Sinclair, you have Smith, but Haran was gone, playing in Europe, and of course a new coach as well. But after, I wouldn't even call it a bumpy start, but not their typical start. Portland has completely turned it around, and again on an 11-game unbeaten streak right now. Only Kansas City is equal in that mark. Erceg goes to Murphy. Here comes Ryan, trying to make some noise. Quick little dump off for Murphy. Pickett stuck in the corner now for North Carolina. Turnover, Moultrie cuts it back to Smith and can't get the touch. Otherwise, that's probably a goal for Portland.
It's a very dangerous position that Sophia Smith's in once again. And ever since Ordonez has gone off, they haven't really been able to create an attack, the Courage. I think psychologically it's taken a bit of a knock, and it's most understandable when you lose your star striker and your target player. Let's see what they can do with this counter-attack.
Caroline. Williams. Here they come, the Courage. Pinto. Chance to reset and swing now to Carson Pickett. Again has the assist today. Radcliffe. Push back to Pinto. Moultrie all over her. Williams waits for it. Ryan in front. Caroline, touch to Williams. Back with Portland. Sugita. 4 goals for the Thorns. This is a Portland team that has scored 36 goals this year, so it is pretty rare to see them potentially shut out in one half even. Again,
they've had a few little sneak looks, haven't they? Mostly through Sophia Smith. That's not going to be of any use to the number 9 up front. But they've been hovering, they've been some shots on target, none of them really stretching Casey Murphy as yet, but I just think Rian Wilkinson will look at her bench and know that at any stage in the second half she can bring on Christine Sinclair, Rocky Rodriguez, Sam Coffey and others and really change things around if she needs to.
Murphy chips it out to Dabinia, trying to get something going here for North Carolina. They would love some insurance heading into the halftime break. Nice touch from O'Sullivan. Here comes Dabinia, blazing forward. She's got Radcliffe to her left. That's where she goes. Offside.
That's bad play from Brittany Radcliffe. She's looking down the line. She can see every defender. She knows exactly where to stand. Just took her eye off that back four for a moment and drifted into an offside position, and you lose possession. And you've really created a really good counter-attack. Dabinia with some fantastic work there. All goes to waste, unfortunately, for the Courage.
Again, you see Wilkinson in her first year with Portland. Of course, a very celebrated playing career for Rian Wilkinson. She played for Portland in 2015 and obviously had a long career with the Canadian women's national team, in which she played with Sinclair and Janine Becky as well. Radcliffe. Williams off the build-up here for North Carolina. Can't find Fuka. Bounces around. Played for Ryan. Klingenberg. The touch here for Portland. Moultrie.
Just thinking of what you said about Rian Wilkinson, it's very difficult to go from being a player and then to a manager of players you played alongside, because it's obviously a completely different relationship. It's a boss type people relationship as opposed to a teammate buddy relationship, but she seems to have handled it well, Rian Wilkinson.
And her and Sinclair are about a year apart too.
Yeah.
I mean, Sinclair, 39 years old, just an outstanding international career, NWSL career, however you want to slice it.
Legendary.
Legendary,
oh,
yes.
Just phenomenal. And again, great credit to still be playing this level of football when you're only a year or two or 40 years of age. You know how you have to look after your body, the fitness levels, you know, your regular treatment and how you deal with injuries, all leads to great professionalism.
Dabinia. Fuka cuts it back. Carson Pickett has a chance. Shot goes wide.
Carson Pickett would love to have that back, but her first touch was so wrong. If it sets up on her left foot, her good left foot, then she can stick it in the back of the net. She's the one who wins the ball initially. Caroline just builds it up to Dabinia. But wait until it comes back to Carson Pickett. Have a look. Her first touch puts it onto her right foot, and then she gets closed down. If she can put it on her left foot immediately with a touch, then it's a volley and back of the net. Gets it all wrong there. Yeah, and then she's having a little mumble to herself, as one does.
Well, Carson Pickett scored her first NWSL goal earlier this year. It was against Chicago, and that was a bit of a surprising goal. That's not her game, obviously. Urseg. You get the feeling if you're Portland and you're trying to win this game, you got to get Smith the ball a little bit more.
Yes, she hasn't had the service that she's wanted. A lot of it has been her getting it in midfield and running at defense on her own, which we saw her do a few times earlier on in the first half. But I do think that changes will come in the second half, in particular Sinclair, Rodriguez, and that could open up chances for Sophia Smith.
Dabinia full speed ahead, leaves it in front for Radcliffe, and it's too far ahead. Smith dives and covers. But boy, Dabinia showing off her speed there. Unbelievable.
It's important for Dabinia now to fill that void left by Ordonez. We talked about the fact you can't attack so much in the air anymore if you're Courage, so you've got to go on the ground, and Dabinia's your outlet. She's a natural person to lead through the middle, and then it's up to Caroline and Nagano and Radcliffe to try and feed off Dabinia.
Pickett ahead to Dabinia, splits the D, gets a touch. Top of the box to Caroline. Hubley clears. 2 minutes of stoppage time here in the first half. North Carolina with a 1-0 lead over Portland. Ordonez is out of the game after injuring her shoulder. Did score the first and only goal in this match.
It's a good first half for the home side. 1-0 up against the league leaders. But there's still work to do for this team and Sean Nahas. And I think halftime it'll be just a rejigging, a chance for the coach to say, all right, tactically a couple of changes since Ordonez has gone off. And what can we expect from Portland in the second half, especially if they do make the changes they can do with Christine Sinclair, Rocky Rodriguez, etc. So it's going to be a busy locker room, I think, on both sides, as Portland then discuss how they're going to break down Courage and where the weaknesses could be.
Yeah, and for all the talk of North Carolina needs to win, they need 3 points. That is absolutely true. But for Portland, you really don't want to play with fire too much here. Giving up a game on the road to North Carolina, which on paper you should be able to beat, just standings-wise, that is not good moving forward because you've got 6 games left, and the next one is San Diego.
San Diego coming up, Orlando away, Kansas City away. So, yeah, a lot of tough matches on the road, and the one at home against San Diego is a massive one. But they are in the comfortable position of knowing that they're virtually in the playoffs. That's not up for grabs. It's just a case of, are they going to be at home and are they going to get a bye in the first round by finishing first or second.
Murphy holds it, and that will do it for the first half. So again, Ordonez, the difference maker, 11 goals in the NWSL season for the rookie, and yet she's out, and North Carolina is hanging on to a 1-0 lead over Portland at the halftime break. Thoughts on this one so far?
Fantastic header by Ordonez, and I hope for Courage's sake that shoulder heals nice and quickly. But there's the danger on the other side. Sophia Smith, one good save from Abby Smith at the feet of Dubinia, but I think it's all set up for a cracking second half. Lots more to come in this game.
That second half between North Carolina and Portland after this. She is out of this game for the remainder of the match. We will see how this shakes out. So many weapons on the bench. Interested to see if they are used or not. Take a look at the stats from the first half. And you see not a ton of shots for either side, but a couple more opportunities for North Carolina.
Yeah, I mean, there were 3 shots on target by Portland, mostly from Sophia Smith, but they lacked accuracy, they lacked strength. She was pretty much on her own, trying to do it all by herself. For North Carolina, of course, the header at the far post was absolutely brilliant from Ordonez. Expected goals, which I think is a nice way of looking at how teams have played, 0.28 for the home side, 0.31 for Portland. So it's not good for either. It's not much. Carolina are only ahead, North Carolina only ahead because of a fantastic cross from Carson Pickett and a brilliant header at the back post from Ordonez. So I think there's still a lot to come in the second half, and we were just discussing off air. For Courage, a draw would normally be a decent result against the league leaders, but they have to win to have a chance, as we can see from the table. There they are sitting. This is the live table. Assuming there's a win for Courage, they'll be on 16 points. But if they draw, they're on 14 points, and Chicago in the last playoff spot are 23. That's a massive gap to make up, and the matches are running out.
Yeah, time is a ticking for North Carolina, and again, without Ordonez, they will have to play the rest of this half. She is not one to be subbed out early in matches, so we'll see how they respond. They've subbed in Brittany Ratcliffe, and no word on any changes yet for either side, but you get the feeling that Portland will make 1 or 2.
Oh, Portland is stacked on the bench, so that you know you're going to see either Christine Sinclair, Rocky Rodriguez, Sam Coffey, Natalia Quick, Morgan Weaver. I mean, they're normally regulars, so you know there's definitely changes to come there for the Courage. They don't have that same strength and depth on their bench.
Well, it looks like we're already getting some changes here. Kuika is going to come in for Klingenberg, and then we will see Janine Becky come out and Rocky Rodriguez come in. So those are your 2 changes for now.
46 minute of play coming out of the game, number 25,
Again, both on Portland's side.
Wow, that's Rian Wilkinson saying, guys, we can go and win this, and I want to see you on the front foot, and these are the changes we need to make it happen. And also, you know, looking at Klingenberg coming off, without Ordonez, you just wonder if Portland feel they're under the same threat, because they certainly were keeping an eye on her, and the plan was to put 2 players on Ordonez every time she got the ball, especially from crosses. So now they don't have to worry so much about her.
Here come the Thorns. Ryan with a touch to Smith, and it's just wide. Well, already better for Portland.
This Ordonez injury could be the undoing of Courage, because without her, will they go on to win this? I'm not sure. And can they keep on winning again as that ball just goes past? Without Ordonez, I just don't know if Courage are anywhere near the same side. We're going to find out in these next 45 minutes.
Well, that deflected off the body of Kaylee Kurtz, and so it does end up being a corner for Portland. It will be Smith to take this. It's up. Back post, Sagita pulls it down, resets. Porter through the air. It's up for Sauerbrunn. Headed down by O'Sullivan. And we'll get the foul against, offside against Portland.
Nice positive start from the visitors. Really putting the pressure on, and I think there's a high press coming. There you go, right away, a high press from Portland Thorns, and I think it is certainly psychologically going to be a completely different Portland Thorns side this second half, one that feels that they can get back in this match, and without Ordonez to worry about, I think they're just going to keep coming at the North Carolina Courage. Big 45 minutes for the home side coming up defensively.
Well, remember, morale-wise, this is actually a big game for Portland, because while they are on an 11-game unbeaten streak in the NWSL, they just lost 2 games in the Women's International Cup. They lost to Monterey and they lost to Chelsea FC. And so that, I'm sure, was a tough stretch for Wilkinson and company, and so they want to get back on the right track, because again, it's not an NWSL game, but they still had all of their strongest players out, and they lost in PKs to Monterey, and then to lose to a Chelsea team that I know has Sam Kerr, so that's going to be difficult. But you know, it wasn't a strong showing for Portland, and they want to get, you know, bounce back here in NWSL play, and that's what really matters.
I think you're 100% right. You can get into a losing streak if you're not careful, in the same way that it's good to get on a winning streak. And you don't want to have a couple of bad results and then another one here, and suddenly players are looking at each other and question marks are being asked. So, yep, 100% right. They want to get back on the winning trail, Portland.
Davinia, Caroline trying to get something going. Rodriguez, Fuka. Got pulled down there by Rocky Rodriguez.
Such a good player, Rocky Rodriguez, and in the midfield, she will drive them forward, no doubt about that. Quika comes in that defensive role, but more as a attacking wing back that she does so well. Another attacking option for the Portland Thorns, as opposed to Klingenberg, who's more of a defensive-minded player.
Caroline, O'Sullivan. Pickett comes up. Had a good chance to score in the first half and just kind of misplayed it. She was open on the left side of the box. Pinto past a couple of players, off to Pickett. Here's a cross. Nothing much. Intended for Dabinia, just not tall enough to get there. Williams from Caroline. Looking for a service, cuts it back. Here's a chance, Dabinia scores! A beautiful play from North Carolina. Dabinia has 5 goals this year, and the Courage have insurance.
Abby Smith looking on, just wondering what happened in front of her, but good finish from Dabinia. Nice build-up play, whipped across from the right-hand side. It wasn't properly cleared by Portland Thorns, and now they do have a bit of a cushion, North Carolina Courage, and we talked about Dabinia having to stand up and lead the attack once Ordonez had left. But have a look on the right-hand side. Ryan Williams doing so well, whips it across near post. There's players go for it and they miss it, and it comes out to Dabinia and whacks it past Abby Smith. Nothing the keeper could do. What a start for Courage, and what a much-needed insurance goal they have now.
Again, Davinia alone on that far post for the finish. And it seemed like Portland had come out very strong in this second half. Appeared that maybe the Thorns were knocking on the equalizer, and instead North Carolina goes back the other way, and Davinia, their leader up front, gives them some pushing. Here she comes again. Porter with another strong tackle.
This is a big test for the Portland Thorns side now. Having made 2 changes, you certainly felt there was positive energy coming into the team, and they looked like they were on the front foot, but they're going to have to get that energy back again.
Davinia, Radcliffe. Rips a shot. Could have been an own goal, but instead it sails over the crossbar.
Abby Smith just relieved that deflection didn't end up putting her in all sorts of trouble. This is where they are so good, the home side. This is the effort from Brittany Ratcliffe, but with Caroline and Dabinia, they've got 2 players there who are so clever in terms of attacking and creating opportunities.
Well, the Courage have a set piece. Again, Pickett on these can be a nightmare for opponents. It's up, back post, the header. Smith controls now for Portland. Just knocks it out. That was very well placed. If Ordonez is in, that might be a goal.
Crucial player for them, Smith. If they get her the right service, they can still get back into this match and get something from it.
Caroline, Williams, O'Sullivan. Portland ball, Nahas disagrees.
Yeah, it did look like Caroline played it off one of the Portland players, but the assistant ref didn't see it, so the team in white get the ball.
Well, they get it right back. Kurtz, Urseg, and again scoring 2 goals for North Carolina. This is nothing new. It's the goose egg next to Portland. That is what's so impressive for the Courage right now, because again they shut out Chicago, and they're trying to shut out Portland right now, a team that has scored 36 goals this year. There's a long way to go, but this is already a step in the right direction for North Carolina. I think about that Kansas City game 2 games ago in which they gave up 4 goals. They took the lead 3 different times and still lost that game.
Yep, conceded 4 against Kansas City, conceded 3 the previous game at Portland Thorns, conceded 3 the previous game against Washington Spirit, and 2 the game before that against Chicago. They've just been leaking goals at the back, and yet now it's a game and a half without conceding a goal, and that's going to be music to Casey Murphy's ears, because nothing a goalkeeper loves more than keeping clean sheets.
And Murphy is a, world-class keeper, evident by her time with the U.S. Women's National Team. Rodriguez bumped around, sends it back to Porter. Hubley, Sauerbrunn. Porter up the middle, sends it wide. Kuika, cross, no one home, top of the box, cleared. Big boot all the way down past the midfield for North Carolina.
Just relieving some pressure there. But, even if Portland don't come away with anything here, Rian Wilkinson chatting to us said, you know what, she's very happy with the winning streak or the unbeaten streak. She says, but I focus on performance. I want to know that we're improving as a team, that what we do is getting better. Even if the results don't happen, I know over time it will do. So I think she'll look at this match, obviously wanting to get a good result, but she'll also look at players and think, what did they do? Did they improve on their last performance or not?
Kuika. Play on. Williams was behind her, no call. Dabinia. Caroline. They have really strong chemistry. Fuka, top of the area. Rodriguez denies Caroline. Smith does not keep it in.
It wasn't quite the service she wants. She wants it into space behind the defender so she can run onto it. Instead, she got a ball that was right on the touchline and involved her having to sort of sprint off the pitch to try and keep it in play. That's not giving Sophia Smith the right sort of service, which is why I think the likes of a Christine Sinclair could be seen, even if it's a 20-minute cameo at the end. Her ability to play those beautiful balls behind the defense is going to be what's needed, possibly.
Yeah, talk about chemistry. Sinclair and Smith have just built that. It's really incredible to watch.
That's because Sinclair's just a wonderful player. The vision, the knowledge, the experience. She knows that she used to make those runs that Sophia Smith's making now, so she knows exactly how to play that ball in for her.
Pickett causes a turnover. Takes off towards the middle. Carson Pickett again with the assist. Nice little chip, broken up by Sauerbrunn. Go right to O'Sullivan. Dabinia just scored for North Carolina here in the second half. Takes a shot, saved by Smith. A kick save off to Williams, right back at it here for the Courage. And a corner is on the way for North Carolina.
Lovely with Dabinia again. Just testing that defense, trying to open up an angle. Lovely ball played in by O'Sullivan, but as she comes in here, she's waiting. Do I go left? Do I go right? Eventually she goes right, gets the shot at the goalkeeper, but still a tricky save for Abby Smith. She gets her feet there to block it before it can go through her legs. So well done to the keeper, but Dabinia just leading this team in the absence of Adonias.
Again, here comes Carson Pickett on a set piece. See Caroline moving around. It's up, back post. Ursay goes for the header, and Hubley gets in front of that. Seen Ursay actually make those before. From Sugita, ahead to Smith. O'Sullivan tracks it down, off to her keeper and Murphy.
There's that rest defense that Sean Nahas was talking about, that ability to organize yourself when you're on the attack so that when you lose the ball, you're not caught 2-on-2. He said too many times in the past we've been caught 2 against 2 when we lose the ball, and we've been punished for it. So clearly his team are learning from what he's asked them to do defensively.
I don't think it's much of a surprise, but Denise O'Sullivan has been a bit of an unsung hero today as well. All over the pitch, making it difficult for Portland to pass cleanly.
And brave when she tackles Denise O'Sullivan. Wow.
Yeah, just provides a little bit of physicality that I think is necessary at this level. Kurtz. Radcliffe trying to get some separation. Sugita edges her out. That one curls right into Murphy.
Hasn't had much to do, has she, Casey Murphy? And that's always a measure of how good your team has been defensively. She's had a couple of long-distance shots from Sophia Smith, and not as much as Abby Smith on the other side. She's had some crucial saves to make, particularly at Dabinia's feet.
Radcliffe. Off Sugita.
This is a Portland team which you mentioned have been scoring goals for fun. 36 goals in 15 games. They're on course to break all Portland Thorns records for scoring, and here they are, not able to break through as yet.
The record in Portland's 40 goals in a regular season, and that's over a 24-game season. This year is 22 games. I think they're going to break it, safe to say.
Well, they're on 36 already. They just need 4 more in 6 matches.
I think we know that is going to happen for Portland, but they just want to get a goal right here, cut the lead in half. again averaging 2.4 goals per game. So this is quite the outlier for the Thorns. And again, coming off of 2 games in the International Cup, just 1 goal against Monterrey, and were shut out against Chelsea, unlike them. Untouched, off Ryan. Goal kick for Casey Murphy.
Well, we thought there'd be changes. There certainly will be now.
Yeah, it appears to be Hannah Betford getting ready to come in.
She's the captain of the women's team. Congratulations from the French market, home of restaurant quality meat at incredible prices.
Looked like Emily Menges there as well. So those appear to be the 2 changes coming up for Portland. Ryan. Behind Kuika. Rodriguez sends it wide. Here's a cross. Murphy taps it above the crossbar.
Safe play by the goalkeeper, not taking any risks. Don't want to do what Bella Bixby did in the last match, and let's carry the ball over the line. So just tap it over the crossbar, get rid of it, and then get everyone organized for the corner. It was meant to be a cross, but just swings in towards the goal.
Ryan will take this. Smith is in the middle, and Kurtz heads it into the stands. Finally lands up there. Again, we're here in Cary, North Carolina, so the home side is up 2-0. We've seen a goal in each half for the Courage. Ryan again. Rodriguez heads it home. Rocky Rodriguez with the first goal for Portland, and it cuts the lead in half.
That's a great header from Rocky Rodriguez, getting up high above everybody else and heading it past Casey Murphy. Excellent set piece played into the box, and that's going to be frustrating for the Courage. Normally you should be tighter at set pieces, but have a look how high Rocky Rodriguez climbs there, and nothing that Kaylee Kurtz could do. Kaylee Kurtz trying to get up there and head it as well, but Rocky Rodriguez timing it perfectly. Just wonder if Casey Murphy could come for the cross. It's only about 4 or 5 yards out, but she decides not to. And once she decides that, the defenders have to deal with it. And they didn't. And Portland are back in this game.
Number 11, Rocky Rodriguez. Substitution by the Thorns at the 64th
So
minute. Coming out, number 9,
a couple of
Sophia Smith.
changes again to
Coming in,
mention for
41,
Portland.
Hannah Bedford. Coming out,
Menges,
4, Becky Sauerbrunn.
Bedford are
Coming
in.
number 5, Emily
Sauerbrunn
Benja,
and
64th
Smith
minute, Portland.
are out. Those are your 2 changes.
Interesting, Sophia Smith coming off. And again, managing minutes perhaps. Don't want too much wear and tear. She missed the last match, so perhaps Coach Rian Wilkinson deciding that she'll give others a chance. And at 2-1, it's now suddenly an open game for the last 25 minutes. I'm sure the neutrals will be delighted, because it really is going to be a case of how much do Portland Thorns take a risk? Can Courage catch them on the counter-attack? And we know through all of this, the Courage have to win. A draw is not good enough for them if they want to make the playoffs.
Kuika near that touch line runs right into Nagano.
Fans, put your
2
hands
subs
together
for
number
North
5,
Carolina.
Pinto.
Meredith Speck
Number 7, the 65th
and
minute,
Malia
coming out.
Berkeley coming in.
Pinto coming in, number 7, Malia Berkeley. Also coming out of the game, number 18, Fuka. Coming in, number 25.
So
Meredith
Fuka
Speck.
comes out.
Third sub, 65th minute.
looks like Pinto will as well. So a shift in that midfield for North Carolina. Urseg. O'Sullivan. Hubley. Pressure from Dabinia. Oh, Malia Berkeley was in the starting lineup pretty consistently for North Carolina, and then Fuka has kind of earned that spot. They've shifted some things around formation-wise. Fuka's more of a offensive midfielder. From Menges. Again, Portland looking for the equalizer. Sugita tries to break free. Takes a shot, and it bounces right to Murphy.
There's got to be some shot to beat Murphy from that far out. The US national keeper, body behind it, comfortably gathers that one up. It's so important here to see how the substitutes impact the team from courage point of view. The fresh legs of Meredith Speck and Malia Berkeley, and a little bit earlier on in this game, Brittany Ratcliffe. They've got extra gas in the engine. They've got to provide the oomph for their team in the same way that on the other side, Menges, Rocky Rodriguez, Kuika, and Hannah Bedford, they need to get the rest of their team firing because they have the extra energy.
O'Sullivan, Pickett, North Carolina trying to get one back. Just saw Rocky Rodriguez score off a set piece. We've seen 2 headers off set pieces for each side. Dabinia into the area, keeps on going, and Smith dives to keep it in.
Hubley with a good tackle there. She had to get that tackle right because Dabinia went to ground heavily. If you don't get the ball, that's an absolute certain penalty. Look at the little wizard here, so quick with the ball at her feet. Goes there, and it's the left foot of Kelly Hubley that makes contact with the ball, just there. Good contact. And if not, that would have been a penalty almost certainly.
We've seen Portland make a couple of strong tackles over the course of this game, specifically against Dabinia. But I think it just speaks to Dabinia and her ability to create, that there's been some last-minute necessary tackles for Portland. Caroline wanted a foul, does not get one. Kuika. Up that touchline intended for Ryan, who gets a throw in here. See Wilkinson. 11-game unbeaten streak on the line for Portland. It is Thorns' ball.
She was talking about that unbeaten streak, and again, just to make the point, she said it really doesn't bother her too much how many wins, how many losses. It's important how her team's playing and that they play to their potential, because if they do, she says, we'll win a lot more games than we lose. I think from a coach's point of view, you're looking at the quality of her team's performance.
Radcliffe onside. Still has it. Caroline open on the wing. Takes a shot, and it's saved by Smith.
I think Abby Smith got half a hand to it and it sort of sneaked away. Fortunately for her, it doesn't go to the opposition, it goes to one of her defenders. Maybe the shot was too powerful to hold from Caroline, but again, the threat of Dabinia and Caroline means there's always a chance that Courage can get a third and take the pressure off. Of course, all that while, Portland are building up and knowing that they have to throw more numbers forward if they're going to get an equalizer. The coach might not be bothered about the unbeaten run, but I bet the players would love to keep it going.
Yeah, I think, you know, for all that coaches say, they want to win. Well, North Carolina has a bit of a streak on the line as well, because they've scored 3 goals in 4 straight games. As this one trying to catch Murphy off the line, it's just over the crossbar. Rodriguez going for the brace.
Again, difficult to beat a goalkeeper of Casey Murphy's quality from that far out. It's got to be top corner with a lot of power, and this was a little bit too high, and it was down the middle of the goal, so it was never really going to bother the keeper too much. Just gets her body in the right place to make sure it doesn't drop under the crossbar.
Here's Ryan. Ursag. Berkeley can't clear.
Risky tackle from Berkeley, going to ground. If you don't get the ball, that's a certain penalty. Sometimes better standing up and just trying to shepherd the player and the ball away from danger. But she gets it right, and she gets a throw in as well.
Again, North Carolina was up 1-0 at halftime. We've seen 2 goals, 1 from each side here in the second half. Dabinia and Rocky Rodriguez for their respective teams. Ordonez, just in case you're just tuning in, went down with an injury, upper body injury, in that first half after she had scored her first goal. Well, it wasn't her first goal in the season, her 11th goal on the year. And that was difficult for North Carolina, and, you know, a lot of teams might have just completely wavered. See Portland fans looking on here in North Carolina, trying to will this team to a comeback victory, or at least a point on the road. Again, this is a Thorns team that has not lost away from Providence Park this year.
Yeah, fantastic on the road. I mean, to not be beaten in 7 games talks to strong mental fortitude and belief in the team. And even a draw here, I think they'd be happy with that. It would put them 1 point clear at the top of the table with a game in hand on San Diego and those close behind. So they would still be in a great position, the Thorns.
Caroline to Dabinia. Menges clears. Radcliffe tries a cross. Menges all over her. Sounds like we're going to get a couple of North Carolina subs soon. Still plenty of time for Portland to get the equalizer. Pickett does not let that one slip through. All right, here come those changes. Jalen Daniels is going to come in, and so is Merritt Mathias. Radcliffe comes out.
It's interesting because Radcliffe was a sub for Ordonez.
Yes.
So she came in what, the 35th, 40th minute. No, I think she had not a very happy looking face that she comes on, and 45 minutes later she's off as a replaced by a sub. Never happy when that happens as a player.
So Caroline will also come out. And this is going to switch things around for North Carolina because Mathias is an outside back. Seems like Williams is going to move up. Then Daniels will replace Caroline. Ryan. Ooh, off Portland. Meredith Speck earns that one. Again, Merritt Mathias, now 175 NWSL games. Only Lauren Barnes and McCall Zerboni have played more games than Merritt Mathias in the NWSL.
Wow. Again, talks to a player of great professionalism and commitment to keep your body and your standards going for that long. Absolutely brilliant.
Just signed a contract extension with North Carolina as well, so she will be a part of the Courage roster through 2023. Last time these two teams played, it was Jaylene Daniels at the very end of the game to tap one through and earn a draw for North Carolina in that comeback. So we'll see how she is able to affect this game off the bench today.
15 crucial minutes coming up, especially for the Courage, for the Thorns. Don't think it really is going to impact their season hugely one way or another. Of course, they would love to get a draw out of this. But if they don't, they will still be secure in the knowledge that they top the table. But for Courage, 3 points means that their miracle run continues. 1 point and pretty much the chances of making the playoffs disappear.
Hubley resets for Portland. The Thorns, they just have the 1 loss on the year. So if they do lose this game, it's not a spot they found themselves in too much once.
Oh yeah, I mean away from home as well, it's no disgrace. And that 1 loss was against Houston Dash at home, 2-0. I mean there's nothing the Portland Thorns have done that's wrong. They're just a fantastic outfit. They've rotated 6 players today. They brought Sophia Smith off to manage her minutes. They haven't even used Christine Sinclair. So even if they lost, say, 2-1, it would be fine. Life would go on for them, and their standards have been kept high here today. But they're a winning team. They don't want to settle for 2-1 loss. They want this equalizer.
And it sounds like we're going to get Morgan Weaver here when we can for Portland, and that's always going to be an issue for opponents. Leading pass, a chance for Betford. Pushed out by Kaylee Kurtz. Back into Kuika. Ryan swings from Menges. Intercepted by Carson Pickett. Daniels. Dabinia gets the touch but runs right into Hubley. So we will get a change, and again, Morgan Weaver comes in, Sugita comes off. And clearly Wilkinson just loves the spark that Morgan Weaver provides off the bench. I should say, a couple of weeks ago, I guess it was the last game that Portland played, which was a couple of weeks ago in the NWSL against Washington. They were down 1-0. Talked about that weird own goal by Bella Bixby. And then Sinclair scores late in the game, and then Morgan Weaver scores in the 92nd minute to win that game on the road in Washington, and that effectively put Washington out of the playoffs or out of any sort of miraculous comeback season.
You're right, was a fantastic winner in those dying moments for Morgan Weaver. First goal came from Christine Sinclair, who remains on the bench. Which surprises me a little bit. I thought they might have brought her on just to try and find that gap, but at the same time, coaches often give other players a chance, like Moultrie, to see what the youngster can do under pressure in a long match. They're constantly thinking long-term about how they use their players.
Dabinia cuts back. Through the tackle, Dabinia skies in, dumps it off, and the tap is wide from Daniels.
What a run from Dabinia. Absolutely world class. It looked like she'd overrun the ball. Brave as a lion, she wins it back. This is a good counter-attack move. Fantastic ball. She looks at the assistant ref to see if she's offside, and he doesn't raise a flag, so she keeps going. Overhits it here, and then still gets in and wins it. Turns quickly, gathers momentum, and puts it in at the near post. So close. Just wondering if Jaylene Daniels could have used her right foot. She went with it with her left as opposed to hooking it with her right. Good opportunity missed, and that really could have put things to bed for North Carolina Courage.
Williams takes off. Yeah, sometimes when I watch Dabinia play, I feel as though I'm watching a video game more than anything else. Dabinia has just unbelievable talent, plays through contact well, and just saw it there. Everything but the finish. By the way, that was very similar to the goal that Daniel scored to earn that draw the last time around. She was streaking in, back post, off a cross. O'Sullivan, pass Rodriguez, and we'll get the foul.
I was just about to say, O'Sullivan, why don't you go to ground to get the free kick? But she keeps her feet and still wins it. I think most footballers are told these days, if you get tripped like that, just go to ground and make up the referee's mind for them. But she's an honest player. Denise O'Sullivan, and she just kept on her feet. She has been immense. I think you're 100% right. A lot of her work goes unnoticed. But the winning of the ball, the commitment, the courage, the tackles has been fantastic tonight.
Carson Pickett off a set piece. Everybody is moving backwards. Abby Smith prepared. This one floated up. Berkeley has a chance. Back to Speck. Sets up. Tries to split the defense. And it went off Portland. So a corner is on the way. They'll get another crack at it.
Position that Berkeley's got the ball and then gives it to Meredith in a good position, and neither gets a shot on target. I know they've got a corner out of it, but I just wonder whether they could have made more of that good opportunities. Just a lone drummer.
This is a midweek game. Getting a rescheduled match here, Portland and North Carolina. Pickett puts it up. Ursig streaking in, and Smith punches it out. Dabinia right back at it. In the penalty area, Berkeley. Now North Carolina can possess again. Pickett lofting in. Dabinia so close.
Yeah, good header from Menges there. Wasn't quite sure what to do. I'm not sure she got much help from her goalkeeper there, because the keeper could have come and taken it. But there's no one behind Menges when she goes for the header. Ball gets knocked out wide really well. Comes in from Pickett. There's only white shirts, so you could be given the chance to come fetch. Although Dabinia was hovering at the very end of it all. Just wonder on second thoughts. But maybe it was the right thing to get it away from trouble, because Dabinia was sneaking in at the far post unnoticed.
Another set piece for North Carolina. And again, it's Pickett. Headed out and lands to Dabinia. Keeps on going, takes a shot, and a save by Smith.
What a strike from Dabinia, heading right towards the top corner there. Abby Smith acrobatically flies across the goal to make the save. But again, comes to Dabinia. She wins the 50-50. Look, she stops it there. She wins it. Then she lines it up. It looks like it's heading right inside that post. And well done to the keeper. Beautiful view from behind. Great stretch, Abby Smith.
That absolutely was going to curl home. Here they come again. From Hubley to Daniels, heads it forward, and it's in! North Carolina with 3 goals again.
I think that was Jaylene Daniels doing what she did in the away match against Portland Thorns and scoring the third. This time around it's not 3-3, it's 3-1 to North Carolina. Courage. The fans so happy, and they've done it without Ordonez. Absolutely brilliant. Well, it's Speck taking the applause. Let's have a look again and see how this is done. Deep ball in. Doesn't get cleared fully by Portland Thorns. Headed back by Jaylene Daniels, and then it's Speck with the flick on. Absolutely brilliant there from Meredith Speck. Set up by Jaylene Daniels. This time she doesn't get the goal, she gets the assist, but had to be a perfect header to get over Abby Smith, and it absolutely was perfection.
Yeah, so make that 5 straight games with 3 goals. At least 3 goals for North Carolina. Meredith Speck might have just put this one out of reach for North Carolina, and again, it was just a nice creation there from Daniels.
It takes all the pressure off now, doesn't it? If you're a North Carolina Courage fan, you pretty much know the points are in the bag. The fantastic run continues. That's 2 wins back-to-back, and this is an amazing end to this match. You can't really fancy the Portland Thorns will get 2 in the last 5 or 6 minutes, although it did happen in the previous match that we did. Somebody scored twice in the 91st and 96th minute to draw 2-2.
Berkeley to Speck. Cross, too high. Boy, you get the feeling that if for some reason North Carolina, I mean, if they make the magical run, that would be maybe the best story of the year. But if they don't, I feel like a lot of teams in the playoffs are going to be pretty happy about that, because this is a North Carolina team that the way they're playing now deserves to be in the playoffs, but just a tough start and some, early issues, COVID-wise, injury-wise, have not put themselves in a great position.
Oh, absolutely. If this team makes the playoffs, North Carolina Courage, I think they'll be one of the favorites to win it. That's how good this team is.
And if they get in, they will sneak in at that 6th spot, which means they could potentially go up against Portland. This is a whole lot of what ifs, but it's something to think about now as we head towards the end of the NWSL season. For North Carolina, they have 7 games left. And Wilkinson, again, this is a team that is in first place. They can afford to lose as much as anyone can afford to lose in this league. But interested to see how they reset heading into San Diego on Saturday, because that is a crucial match in terms of earning that 1, 2, 3 spot in the NWSL playoffs.
Absolutely, but it's not over yet. I've just found that game that I was thinking of. Washington Spirit 2-0 up away at Orlando Pride. Orlando scored in the 95th and 98th minute to draw 2-2, so plenty time left yet, Portland Thorns.
Ryan. Off Kurtz. Here comes a corner. Again, late game heroics just in the last NWSL match for Portland.
A bit of a smile there from Rian Wilkinson, as if my team's done well. Yes, we haven't won the game, possibly. It's looking like they're not going to win it. But I think she'll be happy with the commitment, the fight. They've played it without Christine Sinclair. They've taken Sophia Smith off. They've made 6 changes overall.
Ryan takes a shot. And a miss there, but pretty close for Yasmin Ryan. Going for the upper 90.
And those are all the things Rian Wilkinson was saying about just looking for her team to be doing the right thing in the right way at the right time. And yes, the results don't always happen. And that, to be fair, they haven't really put the goalkeeper. I think if there's one thing Rian Wilkinson will not be happy with, Casey Murphy hasn't had to work much. Whereas Abby Smith throwing her body around the goals, making great saves. Sean Nahas' goalkeeper, Casey Murphy's had a relatively quiet evening, to be honest.
Well, a lot of Portland's shots have been outside the box. Dabinia, again, keeps on going. Is she going to keep this in? No, but it is North Carolina ball anyway. But Nahas, it's never over till it's over here in the NWSL, which we know. Trying to kill some time with Dabinia in the corner. Again, Dabinia has, right now, the game winner in this game. Second goal for North Carolina. Ordonez and Meredith Speck, the other 2 goal scorers for the Courage.
I think she'd get my vote as player of the match as well, Dabinia. I think she's been immense. Nisa O'Sullivan in the background has also been fantastic. But all the glory stuff, that seems to be surrounding the Brazilian Dabinia.
And obviously, Caroline and Ordonez got hurt, but they're both out, and so it was left to Dabinia late in this game. Caroline was subbed out not too long ago, but before that 3rd goal. Play on. North Carolina fans wanted to push against Berkeley. Berkeley with a tackle there. Gets it right back for North Carolina. Dabinia against Cuica. Decides to go all the way back. Here's another corner.
Little clever skills from the Brazilian in the corner there, and then just trying to work the clock down by keeping possession. Does so well here, Berkeley, having been bumped off the ball in what the ref said was a fair shoulder to shoulder. She then wins it back with a fantastic tackle.
Goal kick for Abby Smith.
So for the Courage, assuming that this result stands, Kansas City away, not easy. Gotham away, that might be okay. Louisville at home, Angel City at home. doesn't really make any difference for Courage. It's got to go and win them all. Right now, they have
Ladies and
climbed up the
gentlemen,
table in the live
minimum of 3
table.
minutes of added time in the second half.
And the
3
6
minutes.
points they've got from these 2 games, again, assuming nothing crazy happens in the last 3 minutes, means that they are now in 9th position, 16 points, only 7 points behind Chicago in that last playoff spot, but with 2 games in hand. So if they win them, and that's a big if, they'd only be 1 point behind Chicago.
The one thing with North Carolina is they have not really been blown out this year. So they've always been very competitive. And again, we talked about that Kansas City game as Betfort trying to make some noise off the bench for Portland. It was a 1-goal, 4-3 loss. So they would like some revenge against the Current, absolutely. And potentially just ruined an 11-game unbeaten streak. For Portland, Kansas City is on a similar streak. Here they come. Speck looking for a brace all alone. Cuts it back. A little weak shot there, and it's up to Smith. That wastes some clock.
I think she was trying to chip and just didn't have any strength left in the shot because Abby Smith was off her line.
Moultrie soars that one into the stands.
Shooting practice might be something they want to work on, Portland Thorns, because normally they're so accurate, but there's been 6 or 7, maybe even more shots that have either been over the crossbar or they've barely reached Casey Murphy, and the keeper at the end really hasn't had one save to make this entire match. So I've certainly seen Portland Thorns much more effective at shooting than they have been tonight.
Matthias, the box out. Now we get a whistle. Looks like she hit Betfort right in the neck, accidentally, but
She put an arm out and it, as you say, made solid contact, and the referee believes it was done on purpose. So is that the first yellow card of the match?
it is. We really haven't seen that many fouls in this match, period. But Matthias, who set the NWSL record for yellow cards in the last match, she had 23, now it's 24 in her career. She's played, as I said, 175 games.
So you're going to pick up a few yellow cards during that.
Zerboni's right there with her, and they've played, again, the most matches in the NWSL. So what happens? So Matthias is, a physical defensive player. Free kick for Ryan. Pickett punched out. Daniels, big kick. Nally looking to work quickly. Moultrie, Rodriguez. Moultrie again. Speeding up, takes a shot. Off the post, the rebound. No one can crash in. Ryan was right there. But everyone collapses defensively for North Carolina.
That's a much better strike from Portland Thorns. That's a test the goalkeeper, and I think it was Carson Pickett in the end, the quickest to respond from that ball off the post.
Ryan, it's up. Urseg will watch it roll. And there you go, the final whistle. So it turns out 3 is the magic number for North Carolina. They ruin the 11-game unbeaten streak for Portland. It's just the 2nd loss on the year for the Thorns. And North Carolina now with 2 straight wins in decisive fashion. Things are looking up for the Courage, Gary.
Yep, the miracle run continues for them, and they do keep scoring goals. You're right, 3 here, 4 in the match, the last match against Chicago, 3 against Kansas, 3 against Portland Thorns before that. I mean, if they just keep a decent defense, which they have done today, yes, not a clean sheet, but still just the 1 goal. Clean sheet the previous match. Who's going to stop this North Carolina Courage the way they're playing right now? And for Portland Thorns, 6 changes, gave a bunch of players a run out. No disgrace, still top of the table, still a fantastic side, and still most people's favorites to win this league title.
Well, again, a strong performance from North Carolina. They take down Portland 3-1 at home. That will do it from Gary Bailey. I'm Maura Sheridan saying so long from Cary, North Carolina. Have a great night, everyone.